In this presentation, we're going to have a very quick look at critical theory of accounting. It's a very diverse form of theorising. It doesn't follow normative or positivist rules on theorising. And although it's popular, it has a lot of detractors. And I'm probably one of those. I tend to find critical theory rather depressing. But there's no doubt that it tells an interesting story about accounting, and one that we need to be aware of. So I'll just bring up some slides. So in this learning objective, we're going to look at critical theory and the critical theorists and their main beef about accounting, and you know that they're complaining about accounting because it's called critical theory, is that accounting supports the interests of those with capital and against the interests of those without the capital. So there are a whole range of perspectives and paradigms associated with critical theory, and these are definitely not positivist in any way. They focus on the role of accounting in sustaining privileged positions of those in control of capital. And it's in the interests of those with capital to maintain their control of capital and to not share it too much with everybody else. And quite different from other theorising and views of accountants, the critical theorists don't view accountants as objective, indifferent, and remote from the process of accounting. Quite the contrast, they see accountants as active and important players in the flow of capital, and people whose decisions have the ability to adversely affect a large number of people. There are a number of sources of critical theory. Probably the one we're most familiar with would be critical theory out of the Marxist tradition. Karl Marx wrote towards the end of the 19th century in industrial Europe, where capitalists were oppressing workers and using people as basically factory fodder. And he saw a definite need to change this around. Now, Marxist theory does not mean communist theory. The communists used Marx's ideas to pursue their own ends, but Marxist economic theory or Marxist critical theory is not a communist theory. Other people have got on the critical theory bandwagon, and you find that even coming through in accounting. There's strains of feminist theory, queer theory, and so on. One thing they all have in common is that they identify victims, and these victims need to have a voice to speak against their oppressors. And so it is with accounting. Accounting is not a benign facilitator of capital flows. Accounting is a player in the suppression of people who do not have ready access to capital. So critical theorists use what we call critical analysis to analyse the role of accounting in society. They challenge the view that accounting can be construed as objective or neutral. And they see accounting as a means of constructing or legitimising particular social structures, such as the banks, the accounting societies, the government, and safeguarding their benefits and really working against the interests of those who don't have access to that capital. How useful is critical accounting theory for accounting? Well, I have to say, I'm not a big fan of critical theory. I find it to be rather depressing, and I don't like its obsession with turning people into victims. But I must say, however, that it does serve an important purpose. It makes us think, well, to use the word critically, about what we do. It elevates accountants beyond the plane of simply being disinterested, neutral players in the form of capitalism. And it sees us as actually being important critical decision makers, and we need to take our decision making seriously and to look after the interests of those who do not have access to all the capital. So some important insights from critical theory. We as accountants are important. We need to be aware of the effects of our decisions. And financial reports are never impartial or value-free. They're political documents and they serve people's interests. And so, to sum up, critical theory finds a dark side everywhere. People are oppressors, people are oppressed, capital is the tool of evil, and so on. It's up to you how much you want to follow those arguments, but while critical theory is rather depressing, it does challenge you to think about what you do and the role you play in society. So I hope that's the message you take away from this. In the next presentation, we'll look at an alternative form of theorising about accounting, one that is not widely known, but can offer a lot of benefit in the future, and that's called post-structuralism. And I'll see you there. Bye.